Welcome back. It's season 2. I'm Ruth Ann, and this is For Those Who Care, a podcast dedicated to caregivers and anyone who supports them. Thank you so much for your patience while I took some time off to make some changes to the podcast. I am really excited to share those changes with you. But if I'm being honest, I really needed a break too. If you listen to season 1, you already know I told my whole story. Well, maybe not my whole story, but I told a lot about my story of being a caregiver to my husband. And it got really heavy at times. So taking a break was really a good thing. My favorite episodes from season 1 were the interviews and conversations I had with other caregivers. So I'm definitely bringing more of that to you in season 2. Like I said, you can hear my story in season 1. Those first few episodes are all about my story, and then it's also woven in throughout the other episodes. But I'll go ahead and just give you a quick overview here, maybe a little timeline of my life as a caregiver. So it started when I was 22 years old. I met Lance when he was passing through town. I was living in Denver at the time, and he was on his way to San Diego to fulfill his orders for the US Navy. We clicked right away. Well, almost right away. And we got married 2.5 months later. It was kind of a crazy life. 7 months after we got married, he was deployed for 6 months. And when he came back, within a couple of months, he was in the hospital wondering what was going on with him. At that time, he was diagnosed with Langerhans cell histiocytosis, which then was classified as a rare disease, possibly autoimmune. Many years later, it was reclassified as a rare blood cancer. So that disease meant that he could no longer be in the Navy, and he received a medical discharge, which was pretty devastating to him and to me. For the next 10 years, we watched as his health very slowly declined. And I do talk about that a lot during season 1. But we tried to live as normal a life as possible. We did find out a couple of years later that we couldn't have children. He had some more serious medical issues happen. But overall, we were living and we were happy. Then, about 10 years after that first diagnosis, he received a second diagnosis of Erdheim-Chester disease, which is also a histiocytosis. It's a non-Langerhans cell histiocytosis. So it's the same family of diseases. We already knew what it was. And at the time, it was still classified as just a rare disease, later reclassified as an ultra rare blood cancer. And that was the diagnosis that changed our life completely. A year later, when he was 37, he was forced to retire from work completely. He was starting to have a lot of problems with his balance and some problems with his cognition. About a year and a half after that, when I was also 37, I quit my job to stay at home and be his full-time caregiver. It was a really hard life. We went through a lot in the next 12 years. And there are so many things I learned then that I want to share with you. Because when you're a caregiver, and I see this looking back, you're so exhausted, you don't know what you need. You don't know what questions to ask. And I think about things all the time now and think how nice it would have been if somebody would have just told me this, because I didn't even know to ask. Lance died in 2020 during the pandemic, and it's been really hard moving forward. I didn't know how to move forward after decades of caregiving. It's all tied together. So that's what I'm going to bring you during season 2. I have got interviews with experts and advocates, and like I said, other caregivers telling their stories. It's a whole new vibe for season 2, and I am really excited to share it with you. Please send me a message if there is anything that you would like me to talk about that you feel like would be helpful to you and other people in the caregiving community. And make sure you hit subscribe, whether you're listening on your favorite podcast platform or watching on YouTube. That way, you'll be the first to know when a new episode is available. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next week.